Shmooey and the Shabbat Encounter is a story in Candle, Feather, Wood, and Spoon, and it takes place in Helm, and it ends up, well, you'll see where it ends up. You have to read the story to find out. Helm, of course, is this place where so many classic Jewish stories are written about the characters of Helm, and they're very warm-hearted, earnest, good, strong-valued people who always get everything a little bit topsy-turvy, a little bit wrong, but with such goodness and good intentions. It's usually comedic stories that also have a lesson. And Shmooey is one of the residents of Helm, and he was present for many of the classic stories that we've heard about Helm, but then he goes on to have his own story. So I'm going to read a very small excerpt from the story, as well as some of the questions that appear at the very end. However, Shmooey noticed over time that he was beginning to forget things and mix things up. When the people of Helm dug the foundation for a new school, they pondered where to put the dirt from the hole they had dug. It was suggested that they dig a second hole to put the dirt from the first, but then someone asked, where would we put the dirt from the second hole? And it was Shmooey who said, let's just make the second hole twice as big as the first. But that didn't work out too well. More and more of the things Shmooey tried to do did not work out. He was beginning to forget names, faces, and even the Torah he learned. It was as if everyone in Helm was genetically predisposed to foolishness, and even Shmooey was not immune. Then came the terrible day when Shmooey no longer remembered his own address, 27 Schilberg Lane, where he lived with his wife Malka. He was bewildered when he opened a door and thought he was his own, and saw a woman he did not recognize inside. The woman stared at him in surprise. Shmooey apologized for the mistake and walked away. When he reached a fork in the road, he paused. A sign pointed one way to Prague and another to Lvov. Shmooey asked himself, do I live in Prague or in Lvov? He had not just forgotten where his home was, he had forgotten all about Helm. He forgot his parents, who had named him Shmuel, the voice of the chazan, the taste of matzo ball soup, his wife's smile, the sound of the shofar. He even forgot about Shabbat. The only thing he remembered was how to walk. And so that is what he did. So where he goes and where he ends up, you'll have to find out. Some of the questions at the end of the story include, what is the difference between wisdom, knowledge, and intelligence? Number 2, in the story it is written in the section I read, it was as if everyone in Helm was genetically predisposed to foolishness. How does thinking of the people of Helm as suffering not from foolishness, but something like dementia, change how you see them? Number 3, the story references the famous quote by the Jewish Zionist philosopher Ahad Ha'am, who said, more than Israel has kept Shabbat, Shabbat has kept Israel. What do you think that means? And finally, number 4, have you ever had a dream that changed your life? I'd love to hear about those dreams and hear about the conversations generated by this wonderful little story. Thank you.